love and what's important and what's not important. Especially this second half of loving God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. First, you need to know what God is, who God is, where God is, and then you need to know what love is and how to apply it to God in order to love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. So, all right, here we go. I'm going to start reading through this thing where I think I found out where I left off. I kind of went off the script, went into which I found really enjoyable, uh, wandering off the script. And I'd like to do that in future videos. Um, but I also feel like there's a lot of little over. Been writing the books for, first I had a bunch of ideas, and then I had a web page, and then I had my first book, and then I had my second book, and then I had my third book. And this has been going on for, well, uh, 30, 40 years, at least 30 years, but it's certainly been basically my whole life. But the process of getting information out in some kind of format, whether by text, in a web page or a book, or now we're going into video. Uh, so, okay, here we go. Let me start reading. If we continue conscious breathing, focused on the stimulation of this um, euphoric feeling that you're going to find in your breathing, which is unconditional and unfocused love, along with the complete acceptance of life or your life, we can enjoy love if we choose. This feeling of love and peace can start from the love center or the emotional heart in breathing and continue to emanate out to and through all our body parts and faculties, and then out to everyone and everything in the world, uh, including the omniverse and God, which is all around you. Um, Breathing love can lead the animal or conditioned human into feeling that life is good or safe, even during crucifixions. That goes for actual crucifixions or character assassination, social, emotional, or physical. Um, there's a variety of different, apparently, people have gotten real good at character assassinations. Governments, uh, politicians, corporations, media have become really good at over time at uh, m- maximizing uh, petty little concerns into blowing them up into making mountains out of molehills to discredit people. Um, it's uh, it's it's an arena of criminal activity that is not labeled criminal, but it gets done all the time. People get marginalized and sidelined because they're not saying what somebody else wants them to say. Anyway, so breathing love can lead the animal or conditioned human into feeling that life is good or safe, even during crucifixions and then actual or character assassinations, um, abuse, strikes on the cheek, lies, theft, etc. Some of us will realize that we have loved without thought or effort for most of our lives. Others will find that the love center is and has been very repressed until now and will need psychological, spiritual development and or unblocking to release the hold that fears, toxic beliefs, addictions, conscious and unconscious developmental abuses, deprivations, dissipations, obsessive thinking, anger, resentments, jealousy, judgmentalism, unhealed memories or psychological skeletons in our memory closet, and fight or flight physiological muscle tensions on the diaphragm that restrict the body's natural breathing rhythm and flow. This is where we can be helped by the practice of faith, forgiveness, trust, accepting things that cannot or should not be changed, changing things that must be changed, complete honesty to another, compassionate, empathetic, forgiving person of every detail of our lives that we do not want anyone to know, healing or healthy living, awareness of our interrelationship with all, and the willingness to participate in the process of clearing the mind of all that is detrimental to harmonious loving union with all. Now, when we start going into love, I used to use the analogy that if the television is on and the dog is barking and the radio is on and the vacuum is running and the tools, there's a truck uh, parked outside with loud noises. There's a machine digging in the back, and there's a whole network of things. Silence is a long way off. We have a bunch of thoughts and ideas and misguidance that we're running around trying to accomplish things that aren't loving. Um, or, uh, well, they're not loving. They're spiritually unhealthy. They might be okay physically, but they're spiritually unhealthy. Uh, Sooner or later, as we start weeding out these things, especially when in the silence of love, you become aware of the things that are bothering you. You become aware of the things that are limiting you or restricting you, confining you, and then you can work towards getting rid of them or easing them out of your life, changing them, altering them into something that's comical or loving. Um, when loving God in all, with all, or omniversal love of all, with we have all we have, becomes our primary means and goal, we will immediately start to distance ourselves from any or all mental and emotional illnesses until all that is left is love. You go down the path of love, you realize there's a lot of things that need to be changed and recondition, decondition, and realign our priorities if you're choosing love as your priority. And then over time, sometimes it can happen soon for people who are already there because they've lived and born and raised in a loving environment, and they've automatically, even as young children, they've steered clear of toxic people, places, and things that are not good. Um, Parallels or similarities will be found in the conscious breathing that is recommended for athletic events, exercise routines, martial arts, stretching, yoga, relaxation, and meditation techniques. Consciously breathing love may be the most important process toward achieving and maintaining sanity, emotional wellness, harmony, and physical health. Breathing love can be used to create an intimate and harmonious union with the world we live in that can be continued whether there are friends or enemies in our presence, because the omniversal energy or spirit of God is you and all that is around you all the time, including confused or disturbed so-called enemies and maybe actual enemies. When we cooperate with this love connection, we detach from many imaginary, uh, the past and the future are imaginary. We detach from many imaginary burdens, that's all past and present, on the mind by redirecting our attention and energy to the euphoria of love in the moment, in the living moment. There's no other place to live other than the moment. The past is gone, the future hasn't happened. Uh, so you can live in the imaginary or you can live in reality. Live in the moment. And when you're loving, you are in the moment. You're out of your mind, so you're not into your past and future, or criticizing or condemning plotting and scheming in the present, stinking up your present with the defects of the past. We find enriching peace and life in the present. Love's medicating self or euphoria contributes to a chemical balance that gives its participants the continuous feeling that life is wonderful, beautiful, and or has meaning. Love is harmonious with the ever-present interrelationship with the world around us, wherever we are. What often comes with this self-fulfillment is a sincere compassion and sensitivity for those that are possessed by anything other than love. It is no wonder that this is what God wants from us and for us, because it's the God, the being that's running us. Or in case somebody hasn't read or watched the other uh, episodes, there's a being within us that is running our lives. And, I can wiggle my fingers, but I can't make my fingers. I didn't make my fingers. I can't make my fingers. I can't all the circuitry that's involved in my moving my fingers, I can't make that circuitry. I can orchestrate, I can move it and play the piano or play a guitar or uh, scratch my head, but uh, or point my finger. Um, but I can't make the thing. There's a being within me. There's something put me here, and something is keeping me here. Something is sustaining me, maintaining me. Something is organizing the vitamins, minerals, nutrients, the chemistry within me. Something is organizing and rearranging uh, those elements into blood and skin and organs and the electrical currents that keep the heart beating and everything flowing according to plan. Um, there's a being that is running 99% of us. Again, we have some free will. I can put my finger over here, put my finger over, but there's so much of us that's running without our and that whatever's running us wants us to be in the right temperature, wants us to be fed well, wants us to be in love, is driving us, is compelling us on to being in harmony with the rest of the world, being in harmony with the rest of God, in harmony with the rest of the omniverse. It's just a natural, we're driven instinctively, naturally. Whoever gave us these instincts, those instincts are, I'm going to call it, for me, it's God. Uh, for the atheists, they can call it the omniverse. But either way, whether it's evolutionary, developmental processes that have led us to having survival instinct, and it goes beyond just survival. I mean, that's one thing. That's the base level. But we're driven we're driven towards the heights. We're driven towards fruition. It's like a plant that is a seed and it's planted in the earth. Dirt comes out of the dirt, um, comes out of ignorance, comes out of the darkness, comes out into the light like a child being born in the womb, and then it comes out into the open. It comes into the light, but it's not a fully mature human yet. Um, and then that human continues to evolve, and then ideally it reaches a flowering or a fruition. It flowers and produces fruit, and hopefully it's good, healthy fruit. But when you move into love, then you are moving into alignment with that drive towards harmony, drive towards the fruition of your human nature, aligning yourself with the omniverse or God or the omniverse. Uh, so it's no wonder uh, it's no wonder that this is what God wants from us or for us, because the God who made us or the creator of us gave us also these instincts towards alignment. Again, we're hungry, we want to eat. We're too cold, we want to find warmth. We're too hot, we want to find cool. We're tired, we want to sleep. Basic, simple things. There's just simple indicators of the the instincts that we have been given that are driving us towards harmony. Um, and Jesus considers in a lot of other little false, we get the illusion that we're making love with somebody, or we're using drugs, whether legal or illegal. We get these, or alcohol, uh, or we're having excitement on a roller coaster ride, and we think, oh, hey, we had some meaning in life. Um, there's a whole network of racing your car around, or competing and achieving, to getting the medal, getting holding the belt up in the ring. It was one of my things. I always pictured myself being like heavyweight champion of the world, undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world, and be holding the belt up and having a crowd cheering for me, and I was the center of the universe, center of attention during in a big crowd in Madison Square Garden. But I realized that I was looking for love in all the wrong places. The love is inside of me, and it's not outside there. I can't rely on people who are using their love as a carrot, like dangling their love with conditions and telling me, here, get this, hold this, get this, I have a little, yeah, here, take this, come, oh, no, oh, no, I'm not going you can't get it here. Uh, I'll give it to you if you do such and such. Um, so Jesus considered love of God with all our faculties to be the greatest commandment, and Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, that is so-called love chapter, no matter what we have in life, it is meaningless and empty without love. And it is written in 1 John 4:14 that whoever does not love remains in death. And also somewhere around there, he says that uh, if you love, then you're in God, and God is in you. Um, the New International Version of Matthew 7, chapter 7, verse 13 to 14. Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. Um, Love of God in all, with all, is the narrow road or small gate that leads to life. Anger, hatred, fear, jealousy, delusional, self-centered arrogance, or narcissism, without attributing everything we are to our source and sustainer, lying, cheating, stealing, abusing ourselves and others, alcoholism, drug addictions, etc., often offer plenty of options for the wide gate, broad road to destruction. Whenever we do not remain loving in the presence or absence of any person, place, thing, or activity, we will be, that's, whenever we do not remain loving in the presence or the absence. So if we're not there at the party, or the party, or there's nobody shows up at the party, uh, uh, we if we're not loving, no matter regardless of whether the party or the people show up, and places or things or the activity, the full game is canceled, or the whatever is canceled, or the place, house burns down, or the object didn't show up in the mail. Whenever we do not remain loving in the presence or absence of any person, place, thing, or activity, we will be limited and immediately discontent in varying degrees. If anyone does not remain loving in our presence or absence, they will be they will be limited and discontent. Someone that does not remain loving in our presence or absence shall be offered love, compassion, and guidance, rather than an equal and opposite loveless response when we become aware of the fact that they are or will be suffering to whatever degree, minor or greatly, that we're not in their life, or greatly that we are in their life. Um, Rigid prejudice that refuses to love some persons, places, or things, or activities, can cause toxic discontent to the point of hatred and killing, whether it comes in the form of religion, religious observations, human-made law, racism, nationalism, I'm going to stop the semicolons, public opinion, personal experience, or the faulty and imaginary personal experience of someone we think we know through the character assassination and misrepresentation of media or individual induced gossip and slander, or viewing the world through a variety of different shit-colored glasses given to us by our family, race, nation, culture, gang, employer, media outlet, financial support, religion, politics, gender, peers, social standing, etc. We have a bunch of shit-colored glasses that have been given to us. We have prejudice that we have learned over time, and we develop our own shit-colored glasses to view the world. Instead of rose-colored glasses where you look everything as wonderful, you're seeing things through tarnished visions of of wide variety of different people and places and things that can try to convince you that you should hate or dislike certain people, places, things, or activities. Uh, it's like a football team. You love your favorite team, and you don't like the other team that's in the same division. You learn to have contempt for them. You've been trained, conditioned, like some Pavlovian dog who's been conditioned to hate the other team. Uh, or the other competitor in whatever it is, golf or basketball or hockey or uh, track and field or whatever competition you have. Consciously breathing harmonious love where you are right now as you are reading this, breathing that love feeling. Uh, uh, as you're reading this is a sign to your being that you accept everyone and everything in your presence, or God, at this moment, including yourself and your life. When we think thoughts that are prejudicial, toxic, fearful, resentful, guilty, or otherwise disturbed, we can and will notice the suffocation that these obstacles to unity cause in our being. If we are paying attention, if we are paying attention, our freedom to move around our world in harmony is limited by the amount of people, places, and things that we are unable to remain loving with in our imaginations or when present. When we remain loving in the presence of all, then everywhere is our home, and we are closer to true freedom, and maybe the only true freedom. If you are afraid or you can have contempt for, if you feel ugly, uh, any ugly negative emotions uh, in the presence or absence of anyone or anything, then you are not free. You're bound to someone, some person, place, or thing, or you are uh, alienated, and you don't want to go anywhere near. You can't go anywhere near a person, place, or thing, or activity. You're either bound to it, or you're struggling to get away from it, stay away from it. Uh, so anyway, when you drop out of those judgments, when you drop out of the knowledge of good and evil, you drop into, or you can, I'm saying go somewhere else, but you go into love, and you find love everywhere you go. And this is Jesus' message. This is not my message. This is just Jesus' message. This is a 21st century version of Jesus' message. And of course, there's a lot of people who have, a variety of different, because they read it in the Bible, I have a chapter on why between translations and etymology and philology and word of mouth, and I list 20 different reasons why ancient and archaic texts are are not true grounds, especially I point out specifically not true grounds for hating or any toxic emotions. There's not enough validity. There's not enough verification of the original intent and meaning, or the actual original words. You don't even know if they're original words that were written by someone else about that someone else said. Someone else said something in the desert or in a cave, uh, and then it was written down sometime in the future by some people. Um, so anyway, that's a different chapter. We stay focused here. When we remain loving in the presence of all, then everywhere is our home, and we are closer to true freedom, or maybe the only true freedom. When we allow a person, place, or thing, thought, or activity to misdirect us from love, we lose grace, joy, and harmony. Entrance into heaven, if it exists, may be predicated on establishing and maintaining a loving grace that cannot be shaken in any circumstances, a love that withstands adversity. I'd almost make to change the title of this to a love that withstands adversity. This is what's been called for by Jesus and also Buddha and Krishna. And somewhere, although it's really been lost, Muhammad had the idea of submission and surrender, submission, and one who submits as a Muslim. But Abu Bakr and Uthman and Ali and a lot of his people, whoever gathered up I forget the name of the guy, or the people who gathered up the first Quran. They, I believe, have buried Muhammad's message of submission. Because submission to me, this is what loving harmony is. You submit to the inner being that's driving you toward love and harmony, and but it's a personal thing. It's not a cumulative thing. It's not a group of people. It's you and your creator. It's you and an intimate, loving interaction with your creator, with God, with the omniverse, with the energy, with the atomic energy, atomic spirit, atomically charged spirit or energy of God, which is everywhere. The most magnificent God you can have. Oh, there's no greater God than everything, than the omniverse. Uh, that includes whatever multiple. The omniverse is all verses are all universes. If there are more than one universe, the idea that the universe is expanding and it started in a singularity. Now the singularity must have existed in something. God must have existed in something. God was producing the universe. And if God spoke it into existence, it came out. It didn't come out of. It came out of somewhere. Um, and it's going into something. If the universe is expanding, which I'm not sure, I don't buy into that. I'm not jumping on that bandwagon of an expanding universe, especially the Big Bang theory. That's very far fetched. That's a stretch of the imagination. I think some scientists were in the back room smoking some really good ganja, some real good weed. Um, Anyway, retaining a love that withstands adversity. Uh, again, Jesus, Buddha, and Krishna, all three of those, specifically laid out that kind of a thing. Um, Here we're talking about mainly about a story about Jesus and his message, but it's a common theme, and even the atheist knows this, knows that they are driven into love and harmony. They've been seeking it. They can argue and debate about that the Noah's Ark didn't happen, because in my mind, Noah's Ark did not happen as it's written. I want to emphasize as it's written. It could have happened. It could have been a local flood, maybe, but it's not. It didn't happen as it is written. A lot of things didn't happen as they're written. Remain rooted in love with our ever-present, omnipresent, uh, atomically charged Spirit of God. With this love, we have a heaven on earth that does not require an afterlife version. Our being and our physical animal that we are partially or wholly can behave as if the world is at peace by consciously deciding to breathe in a manner that the physical being associates with harmonious loving union with our world. When this is practiced in all situations in life, we recondition ourselves to experience this harmonious love all the time while developing freedom as a bonus. You got the euphoria, and you're cultivating true freedom. Not be afraid of anything. Because in true love, you're not afraid of anything. You're not afraid of death. You're not afraid of theft. You're not afraid of anything. You become truly fearless in love, because you're in a complete state of trust and faith. Um, I'm not saying, that suicide or allow yourself to get killed. You run out of the way from the truck that's coming down the road, or don't jump off the jump out of the tree when you're climbing it. Um, I'm not suggesting you injure yourself, because that would be a version of not loving the God that is you. You're not loving God if you're willing to kill yourself or get injured. So this taming of the average or the savage and or frightened fight or flight fight or flight conditioned animal within us into a harmoniously euphoric child of love, unified with the omniverse of God, may be the primary emphasis of this writing about the. Well, this comes from a second another book called the Second Resurrection of Jesus, and to some degrees Buddha and Krishna are also, or Muhammad's submission, with a significant stretch of the imagination, seen past the gauntlet corruptions. There's a gauntlet of verifications. Again, I did an episode on that. Um, I did a God, love, and a gauntlet of verification. There's an hour and a half video, a little longer than I wanted to, but I had to put it out there. And on this foundation of omniversal love, all the discussions in this work are built and or compared. Breathing love leads to the fulfillment of our instinctive drive for harmonious love and our uncorrupted religious directives. Loveless lives will likely lead to some forms of corruption, addiction, or emotional disturbance on an individual and or social level as a result or substitute. Prejudicial love will corral an individual into an emotional box. When we segregate people, places, things, and activities into those that we love, those that we may love if they would only change into what we consider lovable, and those that we do not love, and those that we will never love because we consider them incapable of being what we consider lovable, we are setting ourselves up for a less than satisfactory life. People, places, and things and activities other than ourselves will be our emotional puppeteers, with or without trying to be. They don't even have to try to be. You just hate them and you don't want to go near them, and you got to walk around them. You got to go out of the neighborhood. You go all the way around, or you don't want to go through the neighborhood, or you don't want to go anywhere near. You're afraid of a dog, or you're afraid of a bear, or you're afraid of I mean, it's realistic to be afraid of a dog, especially if it is going to bite you or attack you, or a bear. It could eat you, kill you. But maybe I went a little too far with those. But anyway, um, there are people, places, things, and activities that you're going to steer away from because you're afraid of them, or you don't love them. Remaining loving in the presence or absence of all friends, strangers, and so-called enemies is a goal that will require us to relieve our defensive prisons and live fully. Uh, I might as well say that again. Remaining loving in the presence or absence of all friends, strangers, and so-called enemies is a goal that will require us to leave our defensive prisons and live fully. Some or most of us may require self and or collaborative reconditioning, like through the help of friends and family or therapists or some recovery or self-help group. Um, they could also mislead you too. It could lead you down a road where you're co-signing or compounding your anger or hatred, because they'll say, "Oh yeah, oh my God, they did that to you, or you did that. Oh my God, you should feel more guilty. That's crazy that you did that, or they did that to you, and you should be more of a victim than you ever been." You be careful of some people, places, or things, people, therapists, or fucking groups of people, or society in general, or the media, or anyone who's reinforcing your contempt and hatred and prejudices and racism or sexism or whatever it is they're reinforcing and compounding. Maybe a reversal of a life of negative Pavlovian condition into a life of loving in all circumstances. This is reconditioning the animal, conditioned by a society, a culture, a race, a location, a nationality, country, has certain hates and likes and dislikes. Uh, Fearful doubt originates from or causes love's absence. Love is too satisfying for fearful doubt. Unconditional love immerses the lover into the omniverse or God, while awakening to omnipresent oneness. That's another thing about becoming one with the one, the great one, the great spirit, becoming one with the one, becoming one with God, becoming one with the omniverse. The omniverse is one. God is one. There is one God. There is one omniverse. There is no other. Anything you think is other than the omniverse, part of this omniverse. That's an all-inclusive term. Nothing that has been known, will be known, is unknown, always going to be unknown. They're all part of this omniverse, or they're all part of God. If God is omnipresent, God is omnipotent, and God is omniscient, knows all, is everywhere, and is all powerful, and the creator of all things. So the monotheistic God um, of the Judeo-Christian or the monotheistic triad of, of Judaism, Christianity, and Mohammedanism, along with Krishna's version of Hinduism. It's a window in his Hinduism. There's a lot of misled uh, uh, idolatry and misguidance that goes on in some versions of Hinduism and some of the other religions. But anyway, that the God of monotheism is the omniverse. It's omniversal. He's all this atomic power, atomic energy in us and around us. Fearful doubt originates from or causes love's absence. Love is too satisfying for fearful doubt. Unconditional love immerses the lover into the omniverse or God while awakening to omnipresent oneness. When we experience the luxurious fulfillment, joy, and freedom in omniversal love, we will not want to leave the precious pearl of great price we have found, because there is no better place to be in the present, in the love. Love brings us into the present. We breathe love, we are in the present, we are in life. We're not in our imaginations, we're not in the past or the future. We are in life, we are in the fruition, flowering of our humanity, of our life, of our uh, children of God status. We flower as fully uh, immersed children of God when we're in love, children of the omniverse, children of our that are in agreement with the being that is running our lives within. We are in full agreement when we are in love. Both the body, the animal, and the soul are in alignment when we breathe love. We feed our soul love. Love is our food, spiritual food. There's other food that you eat for your muscles or your body or your physical. But love is our spiritual food. All-encompassing, harmonious, loving union with the omniverse of God is the fruition, satisfaction, or completion of all our drives and struggles. Once we experience and understand love's value, Jesus' common request to give up everything and follow him will become clear. Anything that distracts, diverts, injures, or restricts us from our new home in love will be on the list for removal or detachment from. So there is being prepared to give up everything and come follow the path of love, loving God in all. As we cling to material items and we cling to jobs and careers and we can cling to people, places, and things and activities that are toxic to our that aren't helping our cause. Just going into love is a separate journey. Becoming to going into being born again, or being coming like a caterpillar, going into a cocoon or a little chrysalis or uh, sealing itself up and then transforming and coming out and spreading your wings in love, in harmony, becoming a beautiful butterfly. Even if you're ugly, even if you're like, I don't think I'm like, I got the beard going and I got the hair. It doesn't make any difference. Your external appearance, it has nothing to do with this. This is completely independent. You find the euphoria of love no matter whether you're a genius or you're not too bright, whether you're good looking or you're ugly or you think you're ugly. But love will bring out the beauty in everyone. Uh, a loving being is a beautiful creature, regardless. Love, I believe, is what makes things can certainly can make things beautiful. And in my mind, they will. Uh, uh, so anything that distracts, diverts, injures, or restricts us from our new home in love will be on the list for removal or detachment from. Learning to love every part of you and turning every part of you into channels for love of God in all that surrounds us with all that we have or are. If we don't love our hands, feet, brain, legs, arms, or any other body parts or functions, we cannot love through these channels. If we do not love any part of ourselves, we cannot love God with all our faculties. Our body and being are our most intimate and constant companions and great places to start this journey from the inside and outside of ourselves in the omniversal God. Ideas or beliefs about life are confirmed in life. Love. Intimate love with all creates a knowing that is beyond doctrine. Love lives life. It does not need to question it without losing curiosity. I want you to, I wouldn't you say this, you never mind. Uh, Universal love or loving God with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength is a shortcut to complete evolutionary success. Harmonious loving union with the omniversal God satisfies in the present life, and if there is a hereafter, then will also meet the requirements of admission to heaven or the requests of Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, and a few other historical figures, along with common sense guiding us towards harmonious loving union with all. Omniversal love produces faith in life without effort. Faith in life can produce the peace of mind in which love can grow. We can have faith in life without love, but we cannot have love without automatically having faith in life. Fear opposes faith. Love is lost to the degree that fear consumes it. The more we love, the more faith we will have in the oneness of the omniverse or God and ourselves. Almost all fear-based psychological and spiritual maladies will become apparent in the stillness of peaceful love, and can therefore be healed with conscious effort using psychological and spiritual principles while breathing love. Love is what we take with us into our unhealed memories to replace ill feelings associated with our past. Love satisfies. Love is its own reward. Get that? Love is a means and the end or place of rest in recovery from the broad road to destruction. Actively loving is one of, if not the most enjoyable form of thought-clearing meditation. When we experience rich, independent love, we will consciously or unconsciously decide that this is the way we want to live, and that negative emotions must be minimized or cleared away to mature in, maintain, and increase our love. Immersing ourselves in or becoming one with the omniversal God in complete unconditional love is what cleanses us of all past sins or transgressions as an ultimate act of contrition. The prodigal child returns home. When we are loving all, we will no longer violate any or all. Therefore, we are no longer a threat to humanity, nature, or God. Jesus has tried and is now continuing to guide us to returning to loving God with all our faculties and being, for the forgiveness of sins and the detachment from ancient, archaic, mechanical rituals, dogma, and traditions. God wants our love, or the omniverse wants us in harmony, as is seen in where our natural instincts are guiding us. Matthew 13:40, chapter, or verse 44 through 46. The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure buried in the field, which a person finds and hides again, and out of joy goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant searching for fine pearls. When he finds a pearl of great price, he goes and sells all that he has and buys it. This is when you find this love in your chest, find this love in your breathing. You will, once you find it, you are not going to want to uh, get off that path. Because you're going to know that, like when I was smoking crack and I thought I found it, because I experienced the love and like, oh my God, the cocaine, the reduced cocaine, it turned into crack cocaine, lit up and sparkled up the cane part of the thing, sparkled up my love center, and I thought I had found what I was looking for. But it was an illusion. It was a mirage. It was a temporary, fleeting moment. But now that I found it in natural breathing, which I have 24 hours a day, uh, there's no negative. It's only a positive. Is breathing is a very good thing for your health and your mental peace, and it's euphoric. So it's a joy, it's a pleasure, it's the place to be. Um, so it's again, shut the fuck up and love. Um, The effects of media-driven social psychology, manipulation, engineering, and marketing, politics, legal intervention, and religious dictates on public opinion with their tools of guilt, separation, punishment, shame, ridicule, acceptance or rejection, etc., play major roles in deciding for us who or what we can love in society. Public opinion formed by psychological, societal, legal, commercial, political, and religious interests often decides that people, places, and things beyond their prime or out of fashion and or not following the party line and or violating unverifiable ancient archaic texts are no longer lovable and should be replaced by newer ones. This is what goes on in cultures and religions and politics and nationalism. There's a group of people that will steer you into having contempt. They do that in any time a war gets created, and then the people who make the war, people who don't have their children or don't have themselves going onto the front line, they start a war and are ready to go to war and put the lives of other people's children on the line. Uh, there's people who will convince you that you should give your life for them, uh, or put your life on the line to protect them and their corporate interests and their social standing and their status in life. You and your children are going to go put your life on the line. Uh, that's an example of what uh, we can often get manipulated into rioting and looting and killing in war. In war, in training, the documentation, you're led to believe that the other, whoever you're fighting against, whether it's the Vietnamese War, the World War II, World War One, Cambodia, the communist. There's somebody we're taught that we've trained into vilifying them to the point where it doesn't matter whether we kill them. Uh, we've been manipulated by, again, public opinion, uh, psychological, societal, legal, commercial, political, and religious interests uh, that are manipulating. They've become very good at marketing products. If people can market pet rock, put a rock in a box and then sell it, and it becomes a fad, it becomes something that people buy, uh, then they can market anything, including lies and deception, to put your life and your children's life on the line. Uh, starting world wars, getting engaged and gathering up the propaganda to maneuver people into hating, condemning, criticizing, losing their sense of peace, losing their love. This is not the way of the world. This is not the way to go. The way of the world, the best way is to find love, see God everywhere, see your neighbor as yourself, because we're composed of the same minerals and nutrients and atomic spirit, atomic energy. Uh, so uh, we got to be careful about the ideas that we allow in our brain and to get triggered and get caught up. Moving into love, we get rid of all those things, and we get rid of all the barbs that we can get snared. We can have a mind virus or something to come in there and hook us and drag us down into hell, or us into hell to prevent those who are manipulating us into uh, hell. Or we get thrown into the. Never mind. Never mind. I'm going too far off. Is it? Let me get back to the love thing. We stick with love and shut the fuck up about all the distractions and the vices and the people out there that are looking to manipulate us into other things other than love. But I guess part of this chapter I do go on here. When we go to the market or the mall, we gain access to all the current socially acceptable love objects or fads of our society or group. We can get close to them, touch them, and ultimately purchase them so we can love them at home and under our control. That is, if we have the money or the credit, and or the ability and capacity to love them. So we get our phone, we go and we find our phone. Oh yeah, well, I love that phone. I really want that phone. And then you can get that phone, and you couldn't touch it. It was in a glass case. You couldn't go near it unless you had access by having the money or the credit. Um, but then you did what you had to do. You worked, you sold your soul a little bit, and then you came into the store and you went and then somebody unlocked the glass case and brought the phone out for you, or you ordered it online, and then you got your phone, and now you can love it. You can, oh my God, I've got my new phone, and it's the greatest. And then Uh, and if you wanted to, you can throw it in the garbage, throw it in the pond, Sure. Because it's yours. Now you can do what you want with it. You can love it, you can hate it, you can be good to it, or you can ruin it because now you own it. So ownership becomes like a license to. Well, again, if you bought the proper pair of jeans that you really loved and you had the right shirt on and the right pair of shoes on, sneakers, then you'd feel like, oh my God, I really love my clothes. I really, now you feel like you've got your clothes that you finally wanted and you're in fashion, you're in the trend for the next year or two or three until those things are out of date. They're no longer valid. Um, So, marketing and social engineering have cleverly and persistently misled the majority into this limited focus on prejudicial, materialistic love, not only using physical planned obsolescence, but fads and fashions trending obsolescence. So there's a variety of different reasons. It's not just that the phone lost its ability to function with modern technology, but it's out of fashion. Well, you've got the XYZ phone that was done in 2012. This is 2025 here. What the heck is going on? You're way behind the times. Uh, Much of the local and global corruption of the positive and practical principles of capitalism would wither and fade if people loved all things without media and or marketing manipulated compulsion to own or purchase them separate from all else. Again, the basic principles of capitalism of having a token, having a money representing your labor, or your creativity, or your merit, or your product, or your time. Having that it's a really liberating thing. But there's a lot of corruption that goes on. It starts out as a good idea, but as I've said in other places, humans can screw up a free lunch, and they've screwed up a beautiful system of capitalism, which relieved the farmer dragging around big bushels of corn to go get a pair of shoes or to get a pumpkin, and it saved the pumpkin grower from having to drag around a bunch of pumpkins and keep them fresh for the whole year. Uh, So the idea, the capitalist idea, the principles of capitalism are valuable, but and useful, but because people inherit money that they didn't earn, or they gather large quantities of money for just talking, just manipulating markets, conning, lying, cheating, stealing. Somebody sold some some drug that killed somebody, or they have some addictive product. They sold junk food, or they sold they did criminal activity to steal, lie, cheat, steal, and rob people to get money, and they have loads of money. But that loads of money it's a perversion of this simplistic, simple version of capitalism. Which again, at its roots, it's a good idea, a very good idea. And unless there's a heaven on heaven that comes down, the function of capital is a great thing. But when you get you get humans who have large quantities of capital, and they cultivate a whole fleet of slaves that they use and abuse, then uh, yeah, we have problems. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna remain loving. Let me breathe. Let me return to my love center here, and just focus on what I can focus on. That's one thing I don't have control over the world around me much. I have little bit of control, but I do have control over how I feel. And regardless of what goes on, if there is a Satan, and he according to the story of Jesus in the desert, that Satan is the ruler of all the world, and Satan was offering to give all the kingdoms of the world to Jesus if he would worship him. So apparently, those people who are aligning themselves into power structures and major corporations are aligning themselves. If there is a devil, uh, then uh, then that's who's ruling that. And I got to stay out of that either way. Whether there's no devil or not, I have to stay out of. I have to remain loving, uh, regardless of what goes on around me. That's not my job. My job is to remain loving. My job is to love God with all my heart, mind, soul, and strength. And there are a lot of misled people who are misguided. They're still children of God, uh, ignorant children of God, who are doing things that are not good for the rest of society or individuals. Much of the local and global corruption of the positive and practical principles of capitalism would wither and fade if people loved all things without media and or marketing manipulated compulsion to own, purchase them, uh, separate from all else. Now, I've noticed there's a big growth around this area of storage units. There's two things that have grown, blossomed, like in the last, I don't know, 10, 20 years. It's storage units and these big, giant, massive warehouses. One is producing these big, massive warehouses to house tons and volumes of huge volumes of products. And then there's storage units where people are paying money. They don't have enough room in their apartment or their house uh, to hold all the things they've been manipulated into purchasing, things they don't need. If they needed them, they would have kept them with them. They wouldn't have them in a storage unit. They've got caught up and misguided like a donkey with a carrot in front of their nose. They've gone down different roads and they've purchased all kinds of things. Misled. Uh, the unconscious pursuit of harmonious, loving union with all through wealth, power, fame, and materialistic success leads some of those so involved into using large human populations through almost any means possible, only guided by the tolerance limits of those being used, also known as slavery. Humans unconsciously pursue many limited forms of love that will always leave at least traces, if not disastrous quantities, of discontent, while complete harmonious loving union with all is an unlimited path and goal of human satisfaction, available to all. Materialism, or the motivation to possess things, is an unconscious drive for love, as in with the phone that we did a bunch of things to get the phone so we can love that phone. Materialism, or the motivation to possess things, is an unconscious drive for love. when we own something in the words commonly used sense, we can love it fully whether we do or not is another story, as we may become more abusive to the things we own because we own them and consider it in one of the rights of ownership, no matter, including people. Like we hire somebody, and then we feel like we can abuse those people because we now own them. We've taken on their mortgage, their car payment, their credit card payment, their debt slavery. We've got debt slaves who are now working for us, and now we can have them clean toilets and do go into dangerous environments, including the military. We can have them go up to the front line, go up to the beaches of Normandy and cut through the barbed wire while the machine guns are coming down. We can throw bodies at the problem, or somebody else can. The, the people in power can throw the lives of others into the ring, or a couple bucks for a payment, or maybe a retirement plan, or something like that, some kind of carrot. Uh, so, no matter how vast your collection of possessions is, it is still limited. Apparently, it will not benefit a person to gain possession of the whole world if it cannot immerse in love with God omniversally. Or you can gain the possession of the whole world, uh, and then there's always the moon or Mars. So there's always somewhere else that you want to go because you realize that you've got to achieved all this success, but you're still discontent because success is not from the outside. Success is from the inside. The true success is finding love within you, and then you found your success. There it is. It's right there. Very simple. It's not surrounding yourself with things that you can love because you own them, people, places, and things that you own. Uh, you have so many employees, and people bragging about, oh, I had so many employees, or I had so many people working under me. How special you are. Limited possessions are merely childish spiritual pacifiers for the real nourishing satisfaction in unlimited, non-possessive materialism or omniversal loving. The stronger the drive for love, or the more suffocated our love is, the more we want to possess or gain access to people, places, and things we can love without conditions. We want to create a place where we are surrounded by things we own and can therefore love, as in land, home, or business, and all our familiar furnishings, pets, employees, friends, and family members, or culture. It is a relatively common understanding that we can love common or seemingly ordinary objects with sentimental value because it was an antique, a gift from a child or parent or loved one, more than those without. Therefore, we have a glimpse into the potential for loving all and seeing all things as having sentimental value or gifts from our Creator and Sustainer. I have drawings from my daughter when she was 4 years old or 3 years old or whenever it was she first wrote her first ABCs. And I'm clinging to those little things. Now, for somebody else to see that piece of paper, they'd just throw it out. They wouldn't mean anything. Or some little thing that they made, or some little scribble that they did, or some little ornament that they gave as a Christmas present or a gift or something like that, out of the little love of their little hearts, and such a sentimental item. Or something, it's a diamond ring from your parent, or an object, picture of your parent, or a picture of your child, or a picture of your friend, or a picture of somebody who passed away. Or we can cultivate sentimental value and love things deeply that are ordinary to other people. Now, this gives us a glimpse into what you can love. You can love ordinary things, which is back to the finding God in this receipt here. Uh, of finding God in this pen, seeing God everywhere and making that special because it is special. It's part of God. It's part of this atomic energy. There's atomic energy in this pen, the same way that it's in something, the diamond or the gold. Um, so having seeing God everywhere and seeing and loving everywhere is the greatest love you can have. It's not a limited, isolated, stunted version of like a emotional prison of just loving certain small arenas of people, places, things, or activities. Many of us feel loving community in natural settings because we are surrounded by things that belong to the same nature that we belong. We are therefore free to love them without limitations or conditions. We go out into the woods, we go out by the sea, we go by the ocean, we go up to the Arctic to watch the glaciers moving and shifting and calving into the ocean, or some scenic cruise, or some scenic tour, or we were out in our backyard, or we got a view of watching the sunset. We're all amazed and awed because those things don't belong to any particular individual. They are ours. We are part of that. And doesn't, of course, there are limitations when you go to the Grand Canyon or you go to Yellowstone National Park or you go to Africa or you go to Russia or you go to Australia or you go to South America or even North America. There's limits and restrictions of private property everywhere that has bound us up. But let's see, the privatization or governmental seizure of natural environments may have some value for preservation, yet it can rob humanity of their innate need to be unconditionally loving around all things, and causes many social and personal ills for those that are alienated by entrance fees, regulations, limitations, and other actual and psychological barriers. Private property and the laws that protect it make omniversal love more complicated for both those inside the physical or psychological fence and those kept out by it, but not impossible for those few who are able to see beyond or through these barriers. For many, private property is an insurmountable physical and or psychological barrier to unlimited love and omniversal of the omniversal or God. For others, the currently needed protections granted through private property rights give them a small sanctuary for a world from a world filled with humans seeking everything other than harmonious loving union with all. A potential little private microcosm of omniversal love when you're in your own property. Of course, you don't own your property anymore. The government owns your property, so they can tell you what you can and can't do on your property. So those boundaries have been run over. The thief hasn't doesn't need to come in because the government has taken over your home. You don't pay your taxes for X amount of time, and you'll find out who owns your house. Or don't pay your mortgage. You'll find out that the bank that the bank owns it, or the government owns your property. So whether we find a stunted and fragmented version, again, I have to be at peace with all that. This is not my world. This is what's inside of me, my breathing, my connection, this is I don't what goes on around me. I can't let what goes on around me uh, bring me back into judgment and criticism. I have to allow the world that's going. The world wants to go into World War III, the global civil war. It's outside of my 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 pay grade. It's outside of my realm of control. I don't want to control the world around me. I want to control myself so I can be in control and be in love no matter what's going on. That's where I want to go. I need to continue to remind myself to go. I have in the past, and I can continue point out some flaws in society, but I have to even derail that kind of thinking too and immerse back into loving all. Get back on the path, get back on the straight and narrow path, uh, and stop wandering down all the different variety of roads that can lead me to hell, hatred and contempt for others, even the ignorant others who are seeking their own narcissistic, delusionally narcissistic paths and of roping in slaves. But whether we find a stunted or fragmented version of omniversal love or loving God in our teepee, igloo, mud hut, cave, sleeping bag, or apartment in limited ownership, or with a small home on small acreage, or thousands of acres on a ranch or palace with many homes, limited possession on its own will not relieve the instinctive inner drive of complete unlimited love in the omniverse of God. We will also be playing our own unconscious role in preventing others from achieving the same satisfaction by defending, guarding, fencing, policing, and segregating our possessions. Private property may have more expansive rewards for those who have much, but for those who have little or none and do not have the spiritual understanding of a homeless Jesus or Buddha, life can be emotionally impotent, leading to further dysfunction and discontent. This dysfunction and discontent will arise in those with much who come to the realization that they will not be able to possess enough possessions to satisfy the innate yearning for harmonious, loving union with all. Globalists, religious fanatics, nations, imperialists, and others believe that if they conquer the entire planet, they will be at peace. Now, uh, those let me see what I gotta do here. I had to pause and then resume. I had a thought cross my mind and then I lost it. Anyway, I'm going to continue with the reading here. Uh, Jean-Jacques Rousseau. I'm surprised I don't have when he was born. Uh, this is a quote from a person. The first man who, having enclosed a piece of ground, bethought himself in saying, "This is mine," and found people simple enough to believe him, was the real founder of civil society. From how many crimes, wars, and murders, from how many horrors and misfortunes might not anyone have saved mankind by pulling up the stakes or filling up the ditch and crying to his fellows, "Beware listening to this impostor. You are undone if you once forget that the fruits of the earth belong to us all, and the earth itself to nobody." Now, I don't know exactly how I stand on that, but I just thought it was a fascinating little quotation, so I included it. So, we are told that we cannot love another's possessions because of the fear of thievery or damage or adultery. Postage signs, car alarms, banks, locks, guns, punishment, human laws, corrections institutes, mental institutes, media manipulated and culturally induced public opinion, indoctrination, social conditioning, schooling, police, divorce courts, fences, and many other barriers prevent us from loving, um, from interactively loving among the belongings of others. Of course, if our minds are not pure in love of all with all, then it may be a great idea to keep these barriers in place until we prioritize love and only love. This lack of and or limited love will keep us in a chronic state of discontent. We will always feel as though something is missing, and it is. We will cling to our material possessions, family members, friends, and pets in an obsessive way because they appear to be the only fragments of the omniverse that we can love, which is a mistake. We can love even the possessions of others. We don't have to own them, possess them, even touch them. But we can love all because you're going to have to see through those barriers, those psychological barriers. If you're loving, you're remaining loving. You're not adulterizing, lying, cheating, stealing, abusing, breaking, damaging, hurting, smudging, destroying, minimizing, or ruining somebody else's private property. You're just loving it. That's all you need to do. You don't have to own it or touch it or take it, steal it. Just remain loving. Uh, when one of these limited loved ones dies, it is devastating. Oh, excuse me. You know, during that little pause, I drank some seltzer. If a society is propagandized, marketed, or fooled into placing excessive importance on limited material possessions for their happiness and the separation that goes with them, there will be excessive boundaries and laws to protect those possessions and therefore limited, restricted, and or shallow love within the general population of that society, or a love-starved population desperately needing escapes into drugs, alcohol, dysfunction, entertainments, excitement, distractions, etc. Well, that sounds familiar with the current age. Um, Maybe we'll read that again there. No, I'll keep going. We can always go back. I can listen to it again. We do not need material possessions and poverty to breathe love. We can achieve loving harmony with our world wherever we are. We can achieve this omniversal love in a wheelchair, prison, home, hospital, city, natural environment, or mud hut, no matter how old, intelligent, attractive, educated, successful, or socially acceptable we are. All we need is our basic requirements met with reasonably breathable air and the ability to breathe that air to achieve the most success a human can have in the euphoria of omniversal love, loving God with everything we are. The presence of corruption in all political, social, environmental, and religious arenas of humanity are obvious clues that the words and principles of Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, and other promoters of harmonious loving union with all have not been fulfilled in the majority. Trying to become famous or powerful is an expression of this same yearning within humans for omniversal love. We seek adoration from the crowds or the masses. We want to stand in the middle of the ring, as I wanted to do, or podium or stage or on camera to love and be loved by all, or as many people as possible, to pacify the lack of fulfillment due to the illusion of particle and spiritual separation from all in the omniverse of God. Those who seek harmony with our world through the financial, religious, political, military, psychological, subjugation, manipulation, or elimination of people, places, things, and activities that they don't agree with are lost and dangerous to spiritual loving freedom. Manipulation and control of the outside world is an illusion. We will never achieve control of the omniverse of God. We can control ourselves so that we remain loving and in harmony regardless of the proceedings of the omniverse or God. Regardless, we can control ourselves so that we remain loving and in harmony. This is something we can do. We can control ourselves so that we remain loving. Again, no matter what's going on, up to and including crucifixion, and in harmony regardless of the proceedings of the omniverse. To allow the omniverse to do whatever the omniverse is doing. It's not our world. It belongs to God or the omniverse. We can live an impossible life of futility, trying to change all facets of the world around us, or we can do what is possible by adapting to the world around us in love. The spiritual realm or omniversal energy field, we are one with all. In the spiritual realm or omniversal energy field, we are one with all, whether we are aware of it or not, and can love all things, including the possessions of others, without wishing to own or covet. This may be the richest and most satisfying emotional condition. Nothing satisfies naturally like complete, harmonious, loving union with nature, the universal God. In harmonious, loving union with all, we do not possess or own anything in the traditional sense, and yet we can love and be loved by and be at one with everything. If our desire to love and be loved is strong and our wisdom limited, we will accumulate many things to love and be limited to our so-called possessions, no matter how numerous they are, and feel discontent at some levels because there will always be people, places, and things that we are not allowed to love or be loved by, or that we do not reciprocate our love. If our desire to love and be loved is weak and our wisdom is limited, we will be poor on many levels and extremely limited within current materialistically structured societies with their strict laws of possession and private property. Psychology, psychiatry, religion, fame, fortune, status, peer pressure, medications, vitamin therapies, eating, drinking, addictions, addict recovery programs, crime, sin, and almost, if not all, human drives and aversions are influences, actions, reactions, pursuits, and goals revolving around the inner drive for the chemical balance and psychological, emotional, and spiritual harmony that is achieved in omniversal love, loving God with all our faculties. Survival of the fittest, natural selection, and other evolutionary processes are in alignment with the adaptations brought about by the innate human drive for harmonious loving union with the omniverse or God. Harmonious loving union with the omniverse nature God is the fulfillment of our evolutionary drives. Our drives are the drives of the omniverse or God that we are immersed within and are. The omniverse or God guides us from within towards harmonious loving union and reminds us of who and where we are in the omniverse or God. Restricted breathing due to non-loving thoughts is suffocative hell. Thinking about or entertaining thoughts, images, or ideas that generate negative emotions contrary to harmonious love is a spiritual sin. Jesus pointed out many of these spiritual sins of departure from love. Nothing can bother us when we are immersed in love. If something is bothering us, then we must not be in love. Being bothered is a clue we have reconditioning work to do. Being bothered may be the omniverse or God nudging us to return to union with all, or to shut the fuck up in love, uh, or to return to union with all in love, or with God in love. Being bothered is hell. Being in love is heaven. Loving God with all your faculties leaves no room for transgressions. Little children often love with no boundaries. They need to be taught to have limits for safety and social acceptance. As adults, we have an opportunity to safely return to the no-boundary loving of the child while remaining reverent towards all mature adults. Jesus appears to be Let's see. As adults, we have an opportunity to safely return to the no-boundary loving of the child while remaining reverent towards all as mature adults. Jesus appears to be speaking of this when he directed us to become like little children before we can enter heaven. The New American Bible, Luke chapter 18, verse 15 to 30. Jesus says, or the narrator says, whoever is writing Luke, people were bringing even infants to him that he might touch them, and when the disciples saw this, they rebuked them. Jesus, however, called the children to himself and said, "Let the children come to me, and do not prevent them, for the kingdom of God belongs to such as these. Amen, I say to you, whoever does not accept the kingdom of God like a child will not enter it." It's a beautiful and often, apparently to many, mysterious. But when you shut the fuck up and you stop being your narcissist, being, in control, you go into love, you return to that childlike innocence. You become an innocent. You're no longer a criminal. You're no longer a murderer, a liar, a cheat, thief, an adulterer, a pervert, or a twisted human being. You go into love and then you become like a child again. You return, you're born again, born into a new childhood, innocence, childhood love, loving innocence, and harmony. Um, so, uh, we, everything that we've been aligning ourselves, this 21st century version of Jesus' message, uh, fits with just about everything he says, has said. We can return to limitless, forget about, never mind. We can return to limitless love and still have respect for the possessions and the laws of possession that guide those with limited wisdom. We would not want to harm anything that we love. When we have love and sensitivity for all things around us, or God, in our living moment, there will be little or no need for human-made laws and the human-on-human punishment that goes with them. There's another thing that could be valuable, is we don't need a whole bunch of legal system. We can drop a bunch of politicians, and we can drop a bunch of corrections facilities, and a whole network of things, and police and laws and courts and judges and lawyers, and the need for lawyers and the money and the stress and the drama that goes on with all that stuff. If we all find love and harmony with our world, um, that would be the end of all the bullshit on earth. Uh, it sounds good, in theory. Of course, humans are some characters. We can buck up a good lunch or a free lunch, um, and we do on a regular basis. It's happening right now as we speak. People are fucking up free lunches. Could have love and harmony, but we have war and conflict and theft and criminality and abuses and slavery and all kinds of shit going on. When we have love and sensitivity for all things around us or God in the living moment, there will be little or no need for human-made laws and the human-on-human punishment that goes with them. We can reach out emotionally, physically, and spiritually and lovingly touch or caress anything that is near us. Objects that, of course, you're not violating somebody's husband or wife, because then you're not doing the right thing. You're you're consciously or unconsciously going to injure somebody else by violating somebody else's thing. Objects that we have in the past agreed were lifeless, loveless, or rejected by us are now shown to be vitally alive, atomically charged energy in constant motion. We are constantly affecting and being affected by the particle motion of all things in and around us in this omnipresent living moment. Take a little time to, this is little practice, a little something you can do. Be aware of the functions of these senses while you read, or this is out of the book, while you listen to each of these following. Our sense of smell is a particle interaction. The particles that are coming up, it's a particle interaction in our nasal passage with temperatures and chemicals in the air. Our sense of taste is a particle interaction with the taste buds. We eat something, there's a particle interaction with the taste buds on our tongue. And our tongue will send, the smell will send signals to the brain, whether that's good or that's bad. or the taste will do the same, send signals to the brain, and we consciously or unconsciously, it's either naturally we steer clear from smells and tastes that are not good, and we go towards those that do. Of course, we get deceived with sugar and salt and a bunch of different things, junk food. In a lab, they use chemicals to make them appear to our animal that we're eating something good or we're drinking something good. Our sense of taste is a particle interaction with the taste buds on our tongue and perceptible temperatures and chemicals that encounter those taste buds. And of course, you eat something that's cold, it has a different taste, and then it's hot, it has something. Our eyesight is a particular particle interaction with light between objects and our eyes. Like right now, you may be viewing this video, and there's light coming off your screen, and it's going from there, and it's going into your eye. And your eye is seeing an image, and your brain is interpreting what you see. If you're old enough to know or have seen uh, people, whatever I'm called, um, child of God. Uh, um, our eyesight is a particle interaction with light between objects in our eyes and brain. Our hearing is a particle interaction within our ears with sound waves. This is a sound right down my vocal cords. My vocal cords are making sounds that are going to computer and storing that information. And then when you're listening to that, my vocal cords are touching you. I'm touching your ear with my vocal cords. The vibration comes across, gets stored, and then when you watch this video, you're going to have a vibrational that's coming out of it, and it's going to be tickling your ear. Like right now, I can do make a bunch of different sounds. Hopefully, I didn't uh, get too annoying with that sound. I don't want to turn you off with dumb stuff. But anyway, there's a particle interaction with the sound waves. It shows another version of us being connected because I can my vocal cords can create sound waves that go across and are stored, and it can go and it can tickle your eardrum, and then your eardrum will send a signal up to your brain, and you may or may not interpret what I'm saying, or I may or may not be saying something that's interpretable. It could be going off. And uh, our sense of touch is a particle interaction with solids, liquids, and gases, and their temperature fluctuations that our bodies contact. So you touch something, even if you touch your own hand, you can feel whether it's warm or cold, and there's a molecular interaction. If it's warm, it's going to be faster, and your finger's going to feel it as warm, but it's actually faster moving molecules, molecular motion. If it's cold, if you got an ice cube, you're going to be feeling slow moving uh, 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 particle motion. And hot, if it gets too hot, then it goes beyond, the heat goes beyond the realm of the body, the 98.6 average. If it goes too far beyond that, the body will react and step back. If it gets too cold, the body will react, step back. And we are averse. We don't want our body with it. The being within us knows that our body functions within a certain temperature range, and it wants to keep us within that temperature range. Because if we get too cold, we're going to freeze to death. If we get too hot, we're going to burn. So our body has got God-given guidance, omniversal evolutionary guidance to keep us within a certain. And there's some temperatures, whether it's 68 or 70 or 72 or depending on what the temperature you like. You have a natural inclination to find a certain temperature uh, that's like an ideal temperature range. Because it gets too cold and you got to put clothes on, or you got to turn the heat on to stay within that temperature range. Um, let's see, uh, growth and oh no, there's more things we got to go. Sense of touch. Now our thought processes appear to be particle interactions in our brain in lab experiments and tests. It's found that the thought some kind of particle interactions across the synapses that the brain is organizing sensory perception from the eyes, the nose, the mouth, or the taste, hearing. There's a whole orchestration, the senses, the perceptions, and our brain is interpreting these signals and coming up with either regenerating an image of an orange or image of an ice cube or whatever it might be. So even in our brain, we have molecular interactions with the world, the sensory input that we're gathering from our senses. Love is a particle interaction between intimate breathing of the air around us into and out of our lungs, stimulating our love centers and potentially emanating out to all that is near us, unless it is focused on a target or idol. So in breathing, we're having a sensual feeling. We're getting the agreement. That's a sense, a sensory. Love is a sensory perception. You're perceiving that the world is okay. You're breathing peacefully. If there's fear and drama that comes up and you're in a panic, you have to shut down your breathing and think and watch and look and observe until the panic goes away, the drama goes away. It's a good idea to get rid of all the unnatural, unhealthy, unnecessary fears and dramas and restrictions and limitations and move on. Again, if there's a grizzly bear that's coming to want to eat you, it's a good idea to not uh, not let that happen. Or if a truck's coming down the road or a car speeding down the road and you're out in the middle of the road, a good idea to get out of the way. Um, so, all right, let's keep going here. Love is the harmonizing of the omniverse or God within us with the omniverse or God that surrounds us in the living moment. All our senses are interactions with the particles, energy, and spirit in and around us in the now. Everywhere we go in this world, our bodily particle motion or spiritual energy and spirit consciousness interacts with the particle motion, energy, or spiritual spirit of virtually everything near us and possibly further away. When we are consciously accepting and loving all particle interactions in or around us, we will be accepting and loving the spirit of the omnipresent God of religion, or the atomically charged energy of the omniversal life force of science. The maintenance of particle harmony with our world or God is our primary motivator and goal. The more we see all things alive with awesome atomically charged particles or energy in constant motion and lovable, the more we realize that we can experience the euphoria of love with all things, not actually harmful to our existence, most of the time, wherever we go, without the emotional and/or spiritual deprivation associated with the limitations of only loving specific persons, places, things, or activities, also known as idolatry. Even people, places, and things not theoretically or imaginary, um, imaginarily, theoretically or imaginarily harmful. Oh, yeah, okay, I see. Things not imaginarily harmful to our physical existence can be loved from the proper distance, as in active volcanoes, sub-zero temperatures, human-eating animals, and psychopaths, etc. So snakes, skunks, there's a bunch of things that you can love from a distance. You just need to be at the right distance uh, from a temperature. If a volcano is going off, you can watch it from a proper distance, watch it on television. You don't need to be too close to it because the body, whether you love it or not, is one thing. The body has other limitations. It can't stray too far outside the boundaries of temperature and pressure and physical damage. Another benefit from immersing ourselves in omniversal love or loving God with everything we have is that we appear to become connected and or receptive to deeper sources of knowledge and power as a radio, television, or phone receives information by tuning into the proper frequencies. We gain access to what might be called intuitive knowledge and or inspiration beyond the limits of our reasoning. Try breathing peacefully, conscious of the euphoria of love in your breathing passages while communicating with someone else that is peacefully breathing conscious love, and you will both find yourself communicating wisdom beyond the people involved or appearing so to each other. Our mind appears to function at its best when we are breathing love and harmony with all. Harmonious loving union removes toxic emotions and allows what may be called the divine or the best in us to shine. The moment appears to be eternal. Is the moment eternity? It has always been with us, and there is no reason to believe that it will not be with us or, or us with it, whether we are conscious of it or not. The only place to contact life completely is here in this living moment, where we are one with our source and sustainer, the atomically charged omniversal energy or spirit of God. That goes for so-called good and bad experiences. The living moment is where we love the living atomically charged spirit of God with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength. The moment is where we immerse ourselves into a harmonious loving union with the atomically charged vital energy or life in our omniversal world. The living moment is the omniverse, the great I am, God or life itself, our witness or consciousness within that sees the world around us from behind our eyes and is observing these words in the present moment. Our consciousness that has been with us since childhood, unchanged regardless of the passage of time. The same awareness that travels and witnesses our dreams also witnesses our experiences, thoughts, memories, and projections in the moment. That consciousness has not aged or is ageless, regardless of your physiological age, size, or condition. The consciousness is the same consciousness you had as a child. It hasn't aged. It doesn't age. Um, it's there. It's the witness. It's your consciousness. It's your soul. um, or what is believed to be your soul. Your future and past are imaginary or images in the mind. You can play with space-time at this moment while thinking about the past and future if you wish, but please refocus in the current moment when you are done. Uh, our love center or emotional heart and our awareness are hinged in the moment. We love in the moment. We feel in the moment. We perceive things in the moment. We think in the moment. We remember in the moment. Even feelings associated with past or future events are experienced or re-experienced in the moment. To reapply a Joe Louis quote, you can run but you cannot hide from the moment. Many or most people try and have tried to escape the moment through a wide variety of distractions and drugs and alcohol, with only temporary illusions of escape. If our awareness is experiencing and focused on love, we will be in the living moment. And if the living moment is eternal, then we could possibly spend eternity at one with or in love with the living moment, and for the rest of our current lives on for the rest of our current lives on earth. Consciously uh, consciously loving life as it is now in this living moment is where we achieve and perceive maximum intimacy with the atomically charged particles of omniversal energy, or the Spirit of God, using all our senses. The living moment is where we meet God, the omniverse, our maker, the living. The euphoria of love is experienced at its maximum in this possibly eternal present moment. Being at one with, in tune with, in love with, or in harmony with the atomically charged omniversal live energy or Spirit of God that surrounds us and is us wherever we go as we move with life, or the living in this moment may be the highest, most complete, fully alive form of living, and the ultimate conscious or unconscious goal or fulfillment of religion, evolution, psychology, psychiatry, recovery, and all of our basic needs. The yearning for heaven is the yearning for harmonious loving union with the omniverse God. Theoretical or actual heaven and hell are extremes of attraction and aversion in the natural laws or guides of pleasure and pain. This enlightenment, evolutionary fulfillment, state of grace, nirvana, at one with God, chemical balance, submission, being in the zone, harmonious loving union with all, spiritual well-being, good spiritual condition, spirituality, return to the Garden of Eden by eating from the fruit from the tree of life, etc., is a human's primary drive while alive on this earth. Whether we are consciously pursuing it and consciously repressing it, or it is being unconsciously pursued by us, as a person that swims under water seeks to return to the surface to breathe. We will consciously or unconsciously feel either minutely or painfully suffocated in body, mind, emotions, and spirit until we achieve and maintain loving union with the omniverse God in the living moment. Religions and other ideologies that offer heaven, nirvana, etc., and freedom from the pain and suffering of hell are and have been the most attractive of the belief systems because they call out to the evolutionary inner knowing and dictates of our being that drive us away from fruitless suffering towards loving harmony with all here on this earth. Our instincts to survive, procreate, remove a stone from our shoe, and defend ourselves and our loved ones and resources may appear to overwhelm all our drives in phases of our life, but the ultimate instinct that all of these and additional minor drives are subordinate to, or contribute to, or disrupt, is achieving and maintaining harmonious loving union with nature, the omniverse of God. The satisfactions of human needs are attempts by our being to orchestrate, achieve, and maintain loving union with all. The deeper we go in harmonious loving union with the omniverse of God, the more we will relinquish our grasp on egotism and materialism and all the negative chemistry inherent in the Pandora's box of disturbing thoughts and the emotions that poison our life. When all are in harmonious loving union, there will be no social classes that indicate better or worse, higher or lower. All will be fulfilled and find their natural place in society without arrogance, isolation, prejudice, conflict, envy, or shame. We will only want to be ourselves in the euphoric love that we have become and allow others the same freedom to love and be who they are, as they are, while they are maturing, trying to mature, and when they mature. Romans uh, 13, chapter 13, verse 8 through 10. Owe nothing to anyone except to love one another, for the one who loves another has fulfilled the law. Again, I've been saying that all the time here. You're loving, you're not going to be violating. The commandments: you shall not commit adultery, you should not kill, you shall not steal, you shall not covet, and whatever other commandment there may be, are summed up in this saying, namely, somebody puts in the term namely, saying, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no evil to the neighbor, hence love is the fulfillment of the law. And I go a little further, and Jesus goes a little further. It says, love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. If you love God in all things, then you can no longer do evil to any part of God anywhere. And hence, loving God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength is the fulfillment of the law. 1 Peter 4, chapter 4, verse 8. Above all, let your love for another be intense, because love covers a multitude of sins. The proverbial grass will not be greener in someone else's backyard. The vitality of atomically charged energy or spirit is similar wherever we are. There's no place on earth. Some people claim there are special places, and there probably are, but the atomic spirit is the same everywhere we go, everywhere we are. There is no need to be somewhere else. If somewhere else looks more appealing to us, without the actual need to escape danger or environmental extremes and toxicity, then our return to harmonious loving union with all is not complete. Theoretically, there are no places in our world that atomic particles have more life or less energy than where we are now. Humanity can foster and allow all people to practice this loving and harmonious sensitivity for all in this atomically charged omniversal energy or spirit of God. We are all interrelated and interconnected, whether we accept this or not. We are all one in omniversal energy or God's spirit, and it would behoove us to love all that we are part of. We can be more accepting of this inseparable oneness while participating in our inescapably innate and primary yearning for loving oneness. Individuals will live their own autonomous personal experience of harmonious loving union with the omniversal God wherever they find themselves. Someone else cannot live it for you. The group, sect, nation, race, culture, religious, and political leaders or family may help or hinder our awareness of our pre-existing ever-present particle interaction with our universal world or spirit of God, but sooner or later we will have to allow full individual autonomy for ourselves and those who have reverence and love for all. Let's see. Some people may feel that guidance may be necessary to a point in our development as children or spiritual children. Yet continued guidance beyond this point becomes interference with the individual's autonomous loving intimacy of and with their source and sustainer. We do not want to clip the proverbial psychological or spiritual wings of anyone's interest in spiritual flight into the freedom and euphoria of omniversal love of all in the omniversal God. Narrow is the gate of knowing and loving God omniversally. Broad is the path of anger, insecurity, misguidance, misinterpretation, anxiety, fear, doubt, delusions, hatred, jealousy, lust, greed, contempt, ignorance, arrogance, deaf, dumb, and blind, cultural and religious narcissism, etc. All races or ethnicities of all ages or genders can achieve harmonious loving union with the omniverse or God, but not all cultures, religions, belief systems, ideologies, thought structures, or paths will. Most have become snares or personal prisons. Again, I might have to. All races and ethnicities of all ages or genders can achieve harmonious loving union with the omniverse or God, but not all. We can all achieve it as individuals, but not all cultures, religions, belief systems, ideologies, thought structures, or paths that will. not all these ideologies and belief systems and thought structures and religions and cultures. Uh, not all of them will achieve love and harmony with the world, with God. Most have become snares to or spiritual prisons. When we love all in the omniverse of God, everything is love or lovable. Therefore, the term God is love is true for the lover of all. All right, now I've got a 2 hour video, the longest video so far. I've got the sun has been going down and I'm losing daylight here. Over here, it seems like I've got that. So, that's the second part of loving God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. Understanding what love is, and its value in a lot of different, having a bunch of different conversations about the flaws and the pitfalls in achieving love and maintaining love and finding love and where to love and who to love and who God is and where to love. Love all things. Uh, uh, Remain loving. That doesn't mean abusing or using or taking advantage of people, places, or things, but learning how to love through breathing, finding your connection, finding your umbilical cord. Because you're connected. You can do whatever you want, but you can't avoid the connection. You have an intimate relationship with God or the omniverse, nature. You're there. It's there whether you like it or not. You can hold your breath, throw tantrums, and do a bunch of anger and resentment, and you get yourself full of spiritual hell, wide variety of different versions of hell. Or you can breathe and accept and love, and remain, go into love and love the life you have, that you've been gifted a life, and you have the potential for a loving life, a rich, luxuriously emotional, loving life. And you don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be, beautiful or cute or charming or any of the superlatives that a lot of cultures like to idolize. It can be anything, even the things that aren't socially acceptable in a particular culture, and still find love. And you have to avoid the conditions into thinking you can't. You need to avoid the conditions of your age, or you're too young, or you're too old, or you're too this, too that, or not enough of this, or too much of that. This is very simple. Breathe, find your love center, and immerse into love, and live love. And there you go. There's your second half of the "What is Love" chapter, with a lot of other things thrown in for good measure. All right, peace, love, victory, and more love. There you go. All right, adios.